I don't know if you're aware of this, but 50 years ago, compared to today, we sent twice as many kids to college. The average size of the American house has also doubled, yet we have 10 times the depression that we had 50 years ago. This is us. We are stressed. We are anxious. We are worried about paying for college for our kids. We're worried about our jobs. We're basically just worried and stressed about everything right now. But the good news is that the last 40 years of research have provided us with some incredibly simple things that we can do to become more resilient. Things that you can do in minutes a day. And if I can do it, I promise all of you can do it as well. Now, what I'd love to do is talk about how you can be more flexible. That's tip number one. What I'm talking about, though, is psychological flexibility. Probably couldn't hurt to get this limber. But resilient people know how to look at things differently. They know when an adversity confronts them, they know to pause, they know to consider alternatives and that they don't always have the best view on things, and then they choose the words or the action that best align with what their goals are and their values. Now, we don't want to hire this guy to be our sales rep, right?
Yeah.
He's excited, he's got great teeth, great hair, he's got a nice pinstripe suit. He is Mr. Optimism, right? He has never seen an objection that he didn't love. But my recommendation to you is to focus on being flexibly optimistic. That is, focus on the good in your life. Focus on the good things, the opportunities, hopes, and dreams. But do not disregard the negative. Recognize that there are risks and issues in all of our lives. How can you do this? I say put pen to paper. Write about a door that closed in your life, an adversity you faced. Then write about all the doors that opened that you bolted through, and you are stronger as a result. Now, when we're anxious, what do our friends tell us? It'll be okay, things always work out, and my favorite, you'll get through this. And how do we feel after our friends tell us this? No better than when we ask them for help, right? So, what my recommendation for you is to be like this little kitten, or to be like this young man in the yellow t-shirt in the second row, very handsome young man, and be curious, be mindful, be non-judgmentally aware of your existence, and you can beat anxiety. Now, Bobby McFerrin told us in the 80s, don't worry. Yeah. Very good. But what Bobby didn't know was that there were years of science that told us we can be more resilient when we experience more positive emotions. In fact, Barbara Fredrickson has actually narrowed it down to a ratio. People who average at least 3 positive emotions for every 1 negative emotion are more resilient. They're more likely to stay in their marriage and be successful in their work. But do not try to be happy and positive all the time. It doesn't work. It's not good for you. Honor your negative emotions. It's when we are anxious, when we are embarrassed, when we're angry. These are simply markers for us that something's not right in the environment. So I could tell you about gratitude and acts of kindness, and I highly recommend them. But one of the things that you can do tonight is to savor. Savor the moment. Enjoy these wonderful presentations. Savor the beer, the popcorn, whatever it may be. Now, relationships. We know that people who have supportive relationships are less likely to get coronary disease, they get fewer colds, and they live long enough to hang out at McDonald's all day. Now, so how do you do this? What you do is you invest in long-term, supportive, now here's the key word, intimate relationships. Sorry guys, we have a little more trouble with this. But the idea is to be vulnerable, to have that person you can call at 3 a.m. and say, here's what's going on in my life. The other thing you can do is invest in what I call micro moments. So when you're checking out at my favorite store, Wegmans, have a nice little conversation, just 5 or 10 seconds with the cashier. When do you get off? How long have you been working here? Now, one of the last secret that the most resilient people know is they know that when you put your nose to the grindstone, you get a bloody nose. They know when to say when, they know when to quit. But how do they do this? Their secret is in what's important to them. They know how to prioritize their values. They know how to stick to them, and when things get a little bit out of whack in their lives, they know how to refocus. Now, I love to live in the science, but this guy's pretty wise. And what Mark Twain was basically telling us was that we make mountains out of molehills. My thoughts for you are that each of you all of us can be more resilient in just a couple minutes a day.